1009, Meditation on Breathing, in your teal hymnal.
Let's sing each part just once through all together, and then a number of times where you get to pick which part you would like to sing.
Now I'm going to change hats. Good morning. My name is Nora Mulligan, and I'm the president of the Board of Trustees. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Hudson Valley. Whether you've been with this congregation a decade or more, or this is your first time visiting us, we welcome you. Whatever the faith and traditions of your past, we welcome you. Whatever your theological stance, we welcome you. Wherever you are and whomever you love, we welcome you. Whatever your heritage, we welcome you. We respectfully acknowledge the territory on which our church building sits as the ancestral homelands of the Munsee, Lenape, and Wappinger peoples. We don't have any announcements this morning. For the most up-to-date information on these topics and others, please refer to our weekly e-newsletter and check our website frequently. And please join us for conversation after the service. If you're present in the sanctuary, please join us for coffee and conversation at Fellowship Hall. If you're watching the live stream, the link for our Zoom coffee hour can be found in the Saturday reminder in your email. If you're just joining us and would like to receive our weekly e-news, please email us at uucroton@gmail.com with your name, and we'll make sure that you get added to our e-newsletter list. Also, please remember to silence your cell phones at this time. Once again, we welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Hudson Valley. Worship Associate Pat. I would like to ask everybody to join me in welcoming our guest preacher today, who's Reverend Paul Tesshin Silverman. And now we would like to ask the children to come and ring our bells 8 times for the 8 ethical principles of the Unitarian Universalist Church. It's going to be Maggie today, and we're all rooting for her.
Metta Sutra is a very ancient Buddhist teaching on love and passion. There are many translations of versions of it, long and short. This is the most current one I could find, which I want to show you. Great Buddha, please bless our Super Bowl team. Too modern. Yeah, this is where it goes on to talk about Buddha's supreme nacho recipe. Try a different version. May all beings be happy. May they be joyous and live in safety. All living beings, whether weak or strong, in high or middle or low realms of existence, small or great, visible or invisible, near or far, born or to be born, may all be happy. Let no one deceive another, nor despise any other in any state. Let none by anger or hatred wish harm to another, even as a mother at risk of her own life watches over and protects her only child. So with a boundless mind should one cherish all living things, diffusing love all over the entire world, above, below, and all around, without limit. So let one cultivate an infinite goodwill towards the whole world, standing or walking, sitting or lying down, during all one's waking hours. Let one practice the way of gratitude, not holding to fixed views, endowed with insight, freed from sense appetites. One who achieves the way will be freed from the duality of birth and death.
Our chalice lighting words this morning are from Leslie Takahashi. Here in this place of peace, may we find hope. Here in this place of connection, may we find life-giving community. Here in this place of rest, let the unrest of our hearts turn us toward justice. Here in this space, made sacred by memories of connection, let us feel ourselves part of the new that grows from the old in the spiraling of the years. Now please join me in the unison affirmation. The words are in your order of service. Inspired by love, our mission is to seek our true nature, connect deeply and openly, and act for justice.
Let's sing this once all together, and once again, pick your part.
Let us now bear witness to the joys and sorrows experienced in our community. For all the suffering and the conflicts of the world, in Gaza and Israel, in South Sudan, Yemen, and Ukraine, and so many other places, let us have a moment of silence for all those aching in the wider world. As our sorrows are real, so are our joys. I light the second candle for all care, kindness, and compassion unfolding among friends, families, and strangers in the world right now, in cities and towns and villages. We are grateful for the love shared. As we hold and honor the joys and sorrows of the wider world, so we also have personal joys and sorrows. Now is the time for our personal joys and sorrows. If you have a brief, yet personally significant joy or sorrow that you would like to share, please come up to the microphone and speak loudly so that everyone, including the people watching at home, can hear you. If you prefer only to have a candle lit without speaking, please just stand or raise your hand and I will light a candle for you.
Good morning, I'm Al. We had the pleasure of attending some wonderful entertainment this weekend with friends from the congregation and all within our building. We went to the Jazz Vespers on Friday night, which was absolutely wonderful. I think that's monthly and definitely not to be missed. And last night we attended the Marjorie Prime play that's here in the Fellowship Hall, and I think is going to be here for a couple more weekends, which was also wonderful and very thought-provoking. So just thanks to Eliana and Ann Pearl and everyone involved in bringing this great event, 5 minutes from home. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Christopher Quinn. I actually grew up in this congregation. I'm delighted to see so many familiar faces. Hopefully those of you who knew me as a child remember me well. This is my first time back in almost 15 years. All right, thank you.
Hi, I'm Margie, and I just want to say it's a joy that so far 5 members of our congregation have signed up to volunteer at PrideWorks, which is happening on March 13th, which is a Wednesday, at SUNY Westchester Valhalla. If you're interested, let me know, and we will carpool.
I'm Kevin Green. I have 2 joys, even though there's a little bit of sorrow mixed in with one of them. We'll call them 2 joys. My daughter did get into a school for high school. Unfortunately, by the time she got home to us, she already found out that day at school that her best friend, who was going to go to that school, decided not to go to that school, so she didn't even get to enjoy the fact that she got in before she was sad. However, I was able to kind of console her a bit because I just got a message from a friend of mine. He's probably my second oldest friend. We met when we were 12 years old, and he's coming to New York next weekend, and he wanted to say, I'm coming to New York, so we'll figure out a way, we're gonna get together. And I've been on cloud 9 since I got that, so.
Hi, I'm Megan. This is something I've wanted to share for a while, but I just wanted to say how delighted I am when I see all of you in the community, whether it's at the library or it's at ShopRite or somewhere else. When we were looking for a religious community, that was one of the things I was looking for, was a place where we could feel very integrated into the community, and that helps with that, and I'm always happy to see you guys.
Hello, I'm Pat Krugman. I have a concern and an invitation. My former husband, Lee, Sarah's dad, will be going into the hospital in about a week and a half. He will be there for a couple of months, and hopefully will come home, and all of his friends will take care of him for a long while. There are a number of blood drives that are going on nearby. February 20th at Hendrick Hudson Library. February 24th at the in Croton on Hudson at the Croton Library. And then there's another one in Peekskill at the beginning of March. But if you can, and not everyone can, please donate. Thank you.
My name is Laura,
I'm Arnold.
and first we want to say how much we have been enjoying coming to this congregation. We have a great joy. This coming Sunday, we're getting married.
I will light another candle for all the joys and sorrows that we keep in the silence of our hearts, and one more for all the people who have yet to find a place to share their joys and sorrows.
So I already shared with you the Metta Sutra. Those of you who are familiar with Zen meditation or Zen practice, at the core of it is something called Shikantaza, which is what we call pure meditation. And it's the thing you can always come back to, and we should come back to every moment, whether it's a joy or sorrow moment, whatever we're experiencing, by being present, it just makes it that much more significant. So I just want to invite you for a few minutes, sit up straight. Breathe in through the nose. Our eyes are slightly open so they don't drift off to another realm. Let the air drop in very deep, not in the lungs up here, but deep down into the gut. And then expel. Exhale. Let go. Inhale. And what we want to do when we're doing this on our own is count our breaths. So when we inhale, we're full, we make the count of 1, release. Inhale, 2. Now when you enter a monastery, the first stages of practice for a monk are to try to get to 20. So I invite all of you to try to get to 20. Give you a little hint, you won't get there. Because what will happen is all sorts of other stuff comes into your brain other than breathing and counting. When we do Shikantaza, that's all you're doing, trying to master our own ability to concentrate. So when those other thoughts come in, the bills you have to pay, and the fight that you have to have, and the chores you have to do, when those thoughts come in, we recognize them as what we call mental garbage, or satsune in Japanese. We release them, we go back to 1. The typical monk, and in Japan at least, it will take a minimum of a half a year. Practice every single day before you get your concentration, pure concentration to 20. So this is a fantastic practice for all of us, all the time, every day. So let's just try it and just watch the zazen, watch where your mind goes for a minute or 2.
responsive reading, which is in your great hymnal, number 598, Without Hate. I will read the part that's in regular prayer today. You will do the part that's in italics. May every creature abound in well-being and peace.
May every living being, weak or strong, the long and the small, the short and the medium size, the mean and the great.
May every living being, seen or unseen, those dwelling far off, those living nearby, those already born, those waiting to be born,
may all attain inward peace.
Let no one deceive another. Let no one despise another in any situation.
Let no one from antipathy or hatred wish evil to anyone at all.
Just as a mother with her own life protects her only child from hurt, so within yourself foster a limitless concern for every living creature.
Display a heart of boundless love for all the world and all its height and depth and broad extent.
Love unrestrained, without hate or enmity.
Then to stand or walk, sit or lie, until overcome by drowsiness, devote your mind entirely to this. It is known as living the life divine.
And now, let us rise in body or spirit and join in hymn number 128, All That Is Our Life, in the great hymn.
When I came this morning, I asked Nora how long I had to speak. She said, as much time as you want. She saw my eyes light up. No, maybe I'm 55. Which is a good call. We have an expression in Japan, shokugyo-byo, which means an illness that's associated with your profession. And speaking too much is definitely an illness associated with those in the clergy. So good. I'm on a time limit. I know we put a topic in today, the JuBu topic, Jewish Buddhist. I think the JuBu population within the UU is probably pretty large across the country. There's always been a very close association, I assume many of you know, between the Zen community and the UU. Many Zen groups meet in UU, and there are UU ministers that are also Zen teachers. In fact, Yorktown Zen that I lead now is in the UU at Mohegan Lake. Why we're not here, I'm not exactly sure, but that's where we are. So, because I assume you're familiar with a lot of that, I actually want to cut the talk about me a little bit short and talk about some other more contemporary data that's come out that I wanted to share with you, if that's okay. So just as a brief background, if you guys don't know who I am, my bio's in the back there. So I was born and raised in Pittsburgh. My parents were kind of odd. My dad was in Pearl Harbor. When he graduated, wanted to be of service to the community. And he made a really kind of bizarre choice. He decided as a pharmacist, he studied pharmacy, he couldn't have gone on to become a doctor, but he said he felt at that time, after World War II, to be a pharmacist was actually a way to be of greater service in certain ways. And he decided to put his pharmacy in this really, I'd say poor, lower middle class, working class, blue collar area of Pittsburgh, called LA. He says, I'll do it there because people have no money. They can't afford to go to the doctor. Often they get their first medical advice from the local pharmacist. It was back in those days. So he decided to put it there. Which in theory makes a lot of sense. In practicality, I don't say it was a bonehead, but it was tough for my family. There were 6 kids, and we were the only Jewish family in this area. So the running joke there was the Poles hated the Italians hated the blacks hated the Poles, and they all hated the Jew. What?
And everybody hates the Jew.
Right. And growing up, I saw things that I wouldn't realize until I was older what they would mean. I actually had a kind of horrifying experience, was it maybe 10 or 15 years ago, when we were clearing out my parents' house. I found some old notebooks of mine when I was in elementary school. And I was going through them, and you have this kind of typical drawings you see from a 5-year-old, 6-year-old. So you have Superman and dinosaurs and swastikas all next to each other, because that's what I saw. I had no idea what it meant. I'd go to my friend's house, and there'd be a big swastika over the chimney. And as a 6-year-old, that's a really cool image. It's very, the design is awesome. So I come home and I draw. So there's a lot of that, and my mother, to be just as kind of weird in her approach, she said, you know what, we need to teach them to be proud of their heritage and their tradition. So on every major Jewish holiday, she would have all of us take whatever emblem of the holiday was. Hanukkah, we take the menorah to school so we could explain to all the other kids what the holiday was about. And we always knew what would happen. On our way home, there'd be a big group of kids waiting to kick our ass. And this happened all the time. So this was the sort of the environment that I grew up in. And it was a pressure cooker that had an interesting result on the 6 kids in my family. So my eldest brother, as a result of that, first became a Messianic Jew, and now he's straight up evangelical, right? He's an awesome guy. We talk all the time. He really lives his faith, he lives his principles, and I respect that. We get along just fine, except when we get to faith and stuff like that. Or politics, by the way. He's basically Mike Pence, and actually lived in Indiana for a very long time. But that's okay. He's a man of principle, and integrity, right? So that's fine. So based on all of that kind of violence and pressure, that's his direction. My two younger brothers went the other way and took the sort of the old school retreat to safety approach, and they both became Orthodox Jews that now live in Israel. And one's around. And then I'm in the middle. And for me, the question always wasn't a place of safety so much as a place of truth and more than anything, peace. Like everyone around me at the time was talking about peace, 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 because they're going to church, they're going to peace and love, and then they're coming out and kicking our ass. Like, where's the peace and love there? I don't quite get it. Like, where is that path? So as a young kid, I studied a lot of theology, which is weird for like a 9-year-old to be reading Tibetan Book of the Dead. But you know, when you're in that kind of pressurized environment, you're looking for some solutions. So in all of my different studies, I just found that in the Buddhist teachings, it seemed to be the only place where there existed true peace. There's never been a Buddhist war. No one's ever killed anyone in the name of Buddha, right? So maybe I thought there was something there. So I was naturally at a young age drawn to that while, practicing my Jewish faith in my family. So I had those two counter things happening. I got accepted to Carnegie Mellon, went there for a couple of years, but this intrigue with the East was really on fire inside of me. So I talked to the head of my department and got permission to take some time off to go to Asia, just to explore. Well, something was there I wanted to explore. So and we were poor. So I worked, we all had to work from a young age. So I worked that summer before I left as a good humor ice cream truck guy. So I'm gonna give you a piece of advice. If you remember nothing else from today, I just want you to know, don't eat that crap. It was a great business, cash business. I had a lot of cash to do this summer. Just reading it, it's horrible, man. But I had no cash to buy a one-way ticket to Tokyo. I went there, didn't know anyone, didn't speak the language, and just sort of followed my instincts and intuition about just studying. I was just thirsty and curious. So I started with martial arts. I did a lot of martial arts and some of the performing arts. And all of these things that I was studying all kind of led to these teachings of Zen, right? So I thought, okay, before I leave, I should probably check out the Zen thing, since they're all referring to it all the time. So through happenstance, I found my way to this temple on the outskirts of Tokyo, went in, met the teacher, and I said, this place is really cool. Like all these monks in black robes running around in shape. Like you don't see this in Pittsburgh anywhere. And I said, would it be okay if I hung out with you guys for a while? And he said, okay. Awesome. So I moved in. I thought it would be for, a couple weeks or so. It turned out to be just over a year. Halfway through, my parents kind of freaked out. They assumed I joined the Hare Krishnas and they came over to save me, right? And at a young age, by the way, my parents did become quite concerned with what that environment that we were being raised in was doing to us as kids. So they went from one extreme to the other. They took the three younger boys, and they put us all in yeshiva. Like that's another extreme, like Orthodox training, right? Which, by the way, I loved it. I was really just so compelled by that intensity of curiosity and training and the dialogue back and forth. Loved it. And then eventually went to public high school after that, because I had a falling out with one of my rabbis. Maybe I can share that too. At a young age became intrigued. Someone took me to the theater, and I was just blown away by that experience. It was really kind of transformative in a way, and transported me to a different place, a feeling I never had before. And I was intrigued with that. And I went to one of my rabbis and I said, Rabbi, what's the official Jewish line in the theater? And he was old school, post-Holocaust rabbi, so he said, as Jews, it's forbidden to lie. We do not lie. That's a hard line. And the theater is a lie. Those people are playing things, they're saying things that we can't participate in that. And that really kind of tore my heart apart. And eventually, I had to leave that and go into public school where I could sort of pursue the arts at that point. But anyway, at a certain point, my Jewish mother came over, and I wish to God I had a video of this. So you can see my Jewish mother meeting my Zen master for the first time. Priceless. But he gave them permission. There's a little room there that they could stay in for a while. And if you're familiar with a monastery's schedule, we get up very early in the morning, about 4 a.m. We do meditation and chanting and what we call samula, cleaning, and a meal. It's a very kind of regimented, almost militaristic schedule for disciplining the mind and body. And after a couple of days, I said to my mother, are you totally freaked out? Do you still want to drag me back? She says, I said, I love this place. She said, I said, you love it here? She said, I've never been in a place so clean. She said, the yeshiva was so filthy. I just love it. And I love cleaning all day, and I'm cleaning the monks, and we're wiping everything. She said, stay here. You need to learn this stuff. So I got the permission to stay longer. So they came back to the States. I stayed there a while, and then eventually went to India because I wanted to go sort of trace the footsteps of the Buddha. Eventually went back to Carnegie Mellon, finished my undergraduate and graduate work, lived in LA for a while. And my teacher was still alive, so I decided to go back while he was still alive to spend time with him. And that visit, again, I thought it'd be for a year or two. That turned out to be 13 years. And one of the reasons for that is I have a tendency to stay wherever the learning curve is steep. And I was learning so much, I couldn't pull myself away from it. And at a certain point, after a couple of years under his tutelage, he said to me, Tesshin is the Zen name he gave me, which means iron heart. Interesting, because coming from Pittsburgh, that was kind of interesting. And basically, don't be too impressed, it basically means I'm a stubborn ass. And my path to whatever, my insight will be in my life will be not through some intuitive wisdom, but because I'm stubborn, don't give up, and I'm just going to keep working at it. That's basically what that name implies. But he said to me, there's traditionally 2 ways that monks train. We train in a monastic environment with other monks, but there's another traditional way, which most monks don't do anymore, which is to go by yourself alone in the mountains. And he said, I built a training center for that temple, a very small temple in the mountains, and frankly, no one wants to go there. All the monks I send there run away. So I'd like to invite you to go train there by yourself in the mountains. I thought, well, that's kind of an interesting thing. So we had a number of conversations before I went, one of which was, okay, I've had some experience in business, I understand spreadsheets, I've never run a temple before. Like, what's the revenue stream? What's the expenses? Like, I was trying to break it all down. Like, how do you make money as I know there's a telephone there. How do you pay for the telephone, right? So I was asking him these very practical questions. And I don't have it with me right now. Downstairs, often the Zen priest carries something called a josai, a teaching stick. He always has a teaching stick. He probably looks something like this, right? He always is holding it. And the purpose of the teaching stick is to smack the head of the student in front of you. And that's what he did. I was asking these questions, he went, whack! I went, oh, damn! And he said to me, if you ask stupid questions in life, you're going to get stupid answers. All I asked are the right questions. I asked him, okay, what's the right question? He says, here's the right question. When you wake up in the morning, you're there. The first and only question you should ask yourself is, how can I be of service to someone today? And that's how you spend your day. That's all. Everything else will take care of itself. So in monasteries, the habit is you only give your teacher one answer always. It's yes, 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 yes. So he's saying this to me, saying yes, yes, yes. And as I'm saying this, I'm thinking, this is the biggest bunch of bull I've ever heard. I mean, it makes no sense. It just makes no sense. But, I'm young, let me give it a shot. I'll try it as a theory, and I can always go back home. Go back to Pittsburgh, go back to San Diego, go back to work. I'll give it a shot. So, again, I'm cutting out a lot, but moved there, lived there, and I used that as my template every day. And I have to tell you, I can't explain why or how, but I was able to live there for 13 years, paid every bill, never missed a meal, and was perfectly content. And that was my template every day. That's all I did. Okay, so it works. I don't know. Karma? Cause and effect. So I lived there, I ran the place, and eventually my teacher said, before he passed, I was officially his last disciple. He wanted to make me the abbot, the Jushu of that temple. That had never happened before in Japan. Outsider Westerners never been named the head of the temple. So I said, thank you, but no thanks. Because I know Japanese bureaucracy, and it's just going to be such a horrible process, to which, you guessed it, he picked up the stick. Big head. And he said, you're not doing this for you. You're doing this for the people that are coming after you. You're opening the door. Someone has to be first. And it's going to be you. I said, we went through that process, and eventually that's what happened. I became the first Western abbot of the temple in Japan. I still am, actually going back in April. I go back once a year to run retreats and that kind of stuff. About 20 years ago, for various reasons, I moved back to the States to start my family and to have a life here. So that's very, very briefly. You can imagine it's a lot of history, a lot of experiences, which maybe another time we'll come back and we'll share some of the stories with you if I'm invited. Before Nora gets the hook and pulls me off, I just want to share some data that came out this week with you. The Pew Research Center every year does surveys on religion in America, right? And we have a pretty good sense of what's happening in the States right now. So this year, the number of non-affiliated, non-associated individuals is just over 28%, 28, 29%. They thought it was going to go over 30%. For some reason, it slowed down a little bit. Within all of those segments, they do a deep dive demographic. Who's in them, male, female, age, et cetera, et cetera. I just want to look at one piece of data from that. From all that data, it indicates that of the people in America that are associated with a faith tradition, 41% of them are civically, socially engaged. And that's a big category. It can be anything from voter registration to scouting to social activism, environmental, whatever it is. They're very involved in volunteer work in the community. Of the percentage, they're called nuns, not associated, affiliated with any faith, tradition, or religion. The percentage of people that are socially engaged is 17%. Dramatically lower. Okay, so when we come to this question of how do we build community, how do we build fellowship, how do we make the world better, there's some very clear advice on what's the best way to do that and where we find that community. I'm the director of the Your Town Garden of Hope. I don't know if you're familiar with it or not. It's an organic community garden that we grow and distribute fresh produce to all the local pantries. That's all we do. And I was just talking yesterday about sometimes we have people coming and they say, this is great, this is social justice, this is an equality issue. So they come and help in the garden. Usually they last one day. Because then they're on to the next social justice thing, right? The majority of the people that are there, from the planting the seeds to the harvesting to the distribution, they're coming generally from our communities of faith. There's a power there, okay? A power of change. We could do a good job because there's an awful lot of people who are involved in the community, they're not associated, and many of them are retired and have time in their hands. It's one of the factors. There's a lot of nuances to this data, but that 41 versus 17 is very important. One other major piece of data to share is, as I'm sure you're aware, this Surgeon General of the United States declared 2 years ago and again this year the biggest epidemic in America right now, with the most negative impacts, medical and psychological impacts on the country right now. It's not COVID, it's not heart disease, it's not cancer, it's loneliness. loneliness. So now we put these two pieces together. How do we solve loneliness? And how do we rebuild the world? And the answer is right there. It's in us, in this room, at this very moment. You know, when you come up here, it joys my heart to hear you say how much you love being a part of this community. It's not just for you. The impact on that is massive. And that is the solution. It always has been, it always will be. Right? So the work that we're doing here is not just to make us feel good and feel nice. You know, as King said, the beloved community, it's not just beloved, it's sacred. We're building a sacred community here. It's rebuilding communities, rebuilding the world, rebuilding relationships, rebuilding us individually as human beings. So I want to get that focus and lens just right, and let us know really my gratitude to all of you and how important it is for us to come together and celebrate and share this time together. I think I hit my time. Thank you.
Please rise in body and speak Lord Spirit and join in hymn number 100 in the Great Book. Down here, which is Peace Like a River. Each week, we make an offering from the fountain we are blessed to enjoy. We do this in a spirit of love and generosity, aware that we have benefited from those who have gone before, those who, in their turn, give generously. Our offering goes to support the work of love and justice undertaken by our community. Today's offering will also be shared with PrideWorks. PrideWorks' mission is to inform our communities about the realities of growing up gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender, to inspire them to respect and support LGBTQ people, and to advocate for positive change. For more information, please visit the website, https://prideworks.com. Please refer to our newsletter or website for more information. You make your donation in several ways. If present in the sanctuary, you may give cash or a check and offer a plate as it comes by. From your homes, you can make your donation via credit card, or PayPal using the links provided in the e-newsletter, or by visiting our website, UUCHV.org. Or, if you prefer, you can always mail us a check. The offering will now be given and gratefully received. May these gifts and the work of our hands and hearts give power to all who stand forward as a community of faith. Please join me in extinguishing the chalice. The words are in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Blessing, yeah.
Oh, big blessing too.
Yeah. Full service.
From the bottom of my soul, I express my gratitude to all of you, to the teachers, to the prophets who through the ages have passed down the flame to us, to the teachings themselves, the wisdom, the songs, teachings that enlighten our hearts and minds. And we give gratitude and take refuge in each one of us, the Sangha, the Minyan, the congregation. It gives us the foundation and the support to carry on.